It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Doom Nation, what's up? We are back again. Thank you as always for joining us. We are in the shack in the back. Skaggs and the Captain as always, and you guys are tuning in to Two Doom Men, and we have a special episode for you guys today.
Yes, we got a couple topics to talk about, but first, let us introduce to you our friend Pal.
Ooh,
Hey guys, what's going on?
What's up, pal? How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. On my bucket list to be part of Doom Nation, but I do have a question.
What's up?
Good.
What exactly are you the captain of? We've taken a pool here at 990 WBOB, and we've come up with some pretty creative answers. So,
Wait. How much money's in this pool?
right now it's a little over 100.
Oh, so what am I getting? What am I getting out of this now?
Well, maybe you should keep the legend going or give us a clue or something. I don't
I'm
know.
thinking like Band of Brothers. Remember when they kept the pool going and they were trying to make as much money as possible and figuring out what he was, what Tom Hanks was?
I mean, we never really defined what I am the captain of. It's kind of like it's more of a story where the name just stuck more or less.
You know what it is? Captain America. He
Yeah.
always has the plan. So when we go out, boozing to the bar or whatever, we'd always be like, what's the plan tonight, Cap? And
Yep, and I'd lead us into battle.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah, you're that guy. I see that. I see that on you. I'm usually that guy, or was that guy before I got old. But
yeah, I haven't
once in a
led too
while.
many campaigns as of lately, but yeah, it was a big story. It was that's how it started, and then I bought a simple $12 captain's hat from Spencer's,
Of course you did.
and yeah, because it was funny and it blew. Like when I tell you, it changed everything.
It did.
Everything.
We can't go into that much details.
Yeah.
but it did.
I mean, from free drinks to just bachelorette parties coming to hanging out, like me going into bachelorette party VIPs because they want to be with the captain, to people trying to steal it. One of them was, at Yankee Stadium for Jeter's last game. We threw it onto the field.
The original captain's hat he wore, we were at Jeter's last game when he got the walk-off hit. He threw the captain's hat onto the field with everybody else who was throwing their hats on the field. So that was pretty cool. It was a good fitting end
for the original one.
captain's hat. Yeah.
So there's a lot behind it.
Sounds like I need to party with you guys more.
Yeah.
It's a good time. It's a good time. We were just laughing because last week your wife's cousin was with us, and we always say like newcomers beware because like they just drop like flies. And before the night even got started, this guy was completely toast. He was just done for the night.
Yeah.
So we knock people off quickly.
All right. Well, challenge accepted.
All right. Sounds good.
Yep.
So Pal, tell us a little bit about 990 WBOB and yourself. Give Doom Nation a little overview.
So it's a bunch of guys originally started this thing. We got bored looking at porn all day and decided that we were going to go back to our radio roots. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be in radio. When I was 21, I was lucky enough to be in the Patriots locker room for that run throughout the entire season. And I remember interviewing Brady when he was the third string and I was working on a Notre Dame, Michigan college football piece. And through the years, we began this thing 14 years ago as an outlet for us to be creative. And throughout the community, we've given back and done some wonderful fundraisers over the years. And we've been really doing internet radio since before it was cool. Now we have people like yourselves and people all over the country collaborating and building this new national network that, as Trump would say, is going to be really huge. It's going to be really big. There's going to be no network like what WBOB is doing. And basically the formula is simple. Everybody's a podcaster. Everybody goes out and buys their little USB mic and gets their light and their social media hero for a couple of minutes. You guys know and your fans know that it takes a heck of a lot more than that to be consistent and to actually be somebody that's going to be an influencer in the community, whether it be through YouTube, in your backyard, or just nationally with someone that might happen to listen because they caught your Funko Pop and now they're digging what you're talking about with politics. So WBOB is a passionate group of individuals that is striving to bring to you quality homegrown entertainment.
That's well put, and we're happy to be part of it. We're happy to be working with you, and we're even happier to have you on where we could say things like fucking shit and we don't have to pay you any money.
No censorship this one. But no, you're right, man. When we started doing podcasting, it was us and 3 other friends just dicking around, talking about aliens and nonsense and stuff.
Arguing with each other.
And then we all kind of realized, we're good at certain things. So we started putting effort into doing different shows, and it does take a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
And like as you know from just before we started this, nothing goes right technologically.
Right.
On the first try ever, it's a lot of work.
And people don't understand the dedication, guys. Like, it's a Saturday night, Friday night right now as we're recording. Like, I should be out smashing some Tinder right now, but here we are. We're putting in the labor of love, and we're doing this for our fans and for our own craft. I've seen people work with us that have gone on to anchor one of the big networks. I myself have, parlayed this into a little side career. So it's you never know. The sky's the limit, and it's funny how many stories I hear of guys that start out with 4 or 5 people, end up 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And how many podcasts start with aliens? It's amazing how many podcasts
It's a good topic.
start with aliens.
It is. I enjoy it though, even though we talk about sometimes really stressful stuff, politics, I enjoy like the mental exercise of looking into things and thinking deeply about stuff going on.
Yeah.
We're trying to do podcasts. We're trying to make something here, but at the same time, it's a hobby that I actually do enjoy.
Yeah. And it's challenging too, because like you see, like in the world today, like we always talk about it, like you see something on Twitter and everyone just blast them, whatever it is. Like, we don't like that, we're going to try and kill you. But for us, like, we can't, like, the whole purpose of our show is to not have that mindset. Even though we complain a lot, we're still trying to like tell people to wake up. We're still trying to tell people, look at things in a different manner. This is what CNN, the most trusted news network, is telling you. But this is the information 2 dummies come up with, and we're right. It's so
podcasting. I like podcasting also because it's like the most pure embodiment of the First Amendment. You could say whatever you want, and most people don't have a boss or a producer telling you what to do, and for the most part, they won't really censor you. For the most part, we're trying to push back on that, as a lot of other people are. But for the most part, like Apple Podcasts, etc., pretty good at let you say whatever you want within reason. Obviously.
And that's really a good thing and a bad thing, as we've learned over the years. Because a lot of people just go on and they say diarrhea of the mouth. They don't make sense. They might make idle threats. They don't have the facts. And at BOB, we've tried to structure that. One of the other things that I liked about Doom Nation is we get to drink. We don't. In the early days, we did a lot of silly drinking and stuff, but we're very much as professional as we can be over here in WBOB.
Yeah, we've toned down the drinking. There's a couple of like the first
episodes
where
we got
it's
way
just
too
a mess.
hammered. Yeah. But
the Halloween episode, if you go back on our YouTube page, we were dressed up as the Tiger King. I was
he was Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic,
and his boyfriend. John Finley.
Remember the dude that was shirtless the entire documentary?
Sure, yeah.
That's who he was.
We got hammered. It was fun though. Yeah, that was the Halloween episode.
Yeah, that was a great time.
That's the way I try to look at it. When we do like a political episode, and I really want to be on my game, we don't get that hammered. But if it's just the friends that are messing around, there's nothing wrong with drinking and having a smoke or whatever. It's no big deal.
So you want to give out the topics of what we're talking about today?
Let's do it. Should have brought up the page here before. But basically, I want to talk a little bit about Liz Cheney, who is in a position of leadership in the GOP. Also, we want to talk about Bill and Melinda Gates and their divorce, which just got announced, and then your other topics.
Excuse me. Yeah. So playing off of when the last time we spoke with you, pal, this past week, with May 4th, you had brought up, a pretty good question of what if Trump was president? What would we be doing with the vaccine? So I kind of want to play around with that idea a little bit. And what was the other one I had?
The election.
Maricopa
County or whatever.
Yes, if you've been looking into the Arizona audit for the election. So we'll talk a little bit about all the.
Let's start with that.
You want to start with?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, pal, have you looked into or know anything about what's going on in Arizona?
Yeah, and it's, to me, the only I see a couple problems with it, but for overall, I think it's a good thing. So for those that aren't familiar with it, Arizona subpoenaed all the ballot machines from this county and all the hand ballots, and they're counting them. And people are bullshit about it. And I don't understand why. If you're a Democrat who stole the Senate seat, and oh, by the way, Biden won by 10,000 votes in the state of Arizona, why are you upset? This is going to legitimize what you're already claiming, what the records already say.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Republican, you have nothing to gain but goodness out of this. Because what if something is funny about all this? What I don't like about it is the Trump pounding the chest and still making all these statements and really inciting a riot, whether it be virtually or as we saw on January 6th. That's the part I don't like. The Democrats is claiming that, oh, we don't want this because it's going to hurt the people's faith in the voting process. Why would it do that?
Because they're going to find out.
Right. If everything's on the up and up, it should just increase our trust in the process. Yeah. So what are we worried about? And that's the part that really makes you go,
Yeah, the Democrats seem to have that narrative of this is going to hurt people's trust, but people's trust is already hurt, I guess you could say, or at least Republicans or the MAGA crowd. So the Democrats should be leading the charge of verifying the election results, which they claim are so set in stone, etc. They should want that to be audited.
From the party that told you the 2016 election was hacked to now the party of, no, it is so good. This was such a secure election that we can't even double check our work. Right. There's no need to double. It's, and if we start double checking it, we're going to send a couple of hundred lawyers down there to try and stop you. Oh, we're going to get the Department of Justice to try and stop you. It's ridiculous. What is going on? Like, if you got nothing to lose, show your cards.
And I believe Biden did win fair and square. We were in a group text earlier today. And I said, look, I think just Trump pissed off enough people that they voted against him. They didn't vote for Biden. And that's probably why Trump lost. But, we should want to make sure that it's right. We want to put the MAGA crowd who could likely storm the Capitol at ease, right? Don't we want to do that? Don't we want people to be less radical and crazy about stuff?
Wouldn't it be kind of moderate for them to do that? Like the most moderate president ever, Joe Biden?
You're right.
Again, this should be something that should be an easy uniter. Biden should be coming out and saying, you know what, there's nothing really to worry about here, but to put people's minds at ease, let's do it. But unfortunately, both parties do it. They're both guilty of it. Whenever they want to, they call up Officer Bob Brady and he, come on, move along, nothing to see here. And that's what they're doing here. The part, again, going back to the MAGA stuff, it really amazes me how vile each side can get.
Oh, yeah.
When Trump first got in, I kind of played neutral on it, okay? Whatever. I didn't feel strongly one way or the other, but the vile Democrats pushed me into liking Trump until that last 6 months to 9 months where he totally screwed everything up with unemployment and every other damn thing. And I couldn't agree with you guys more. Biden won because he wasn't Trump. That could have been you guys. You know what I mean? That could have been anybody with the right backing. People just didn't want Trump anymore.
Yeah, there's the Trump derangement syndrome that's been going on,
And now they got, the end of the world coming.
Yeah. I think that's good. You want to go into the vaccine thing, or as I said,
I was going to ask, what do you think are some of the outcomes? Because I got like a few. Because I mean, like, one of my thoughts is like, if there's fraud found and then it gets moved to other states and other states end up getting overturned, what take does like Trump like knock on like the Oval Office door and like, all right, Joe, pack your bags, get out of here? Because I kind of feel like a few things. Like I kind of feel like if it did get overturned, most of Congress and like the media would just be like, okay, like too bad, like Biden's still president.
Right. Is there even a process
Yeah. And
to
then,
sort that out?
yeah.
That's a good question.
And then the other side, I kind of feel like it's another like Q conspiracy where like tomorrow the election will be overturned. And then tomorrow comes and just nothing's going to happen of it. So what do you think like the outcome could possibly mean or be? All speculation, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's going to be, oh, yeah, well, Arizona was an anomaly and there was a mix up with the machines and we're going to sue that particular company. There'll be some sort of cover up.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see if they come back and say, nope, it was all set. Because there should be some error here. Maybe not with the machines, but the human ballots, right? There should be at least 30, 40, 50 ballots that are wrong, right?
Right,
Yeah.
just by a human error, like you
Yeah.
said. It's impossible in anything for there to be 100% certainty. The past couple of months, the way that the Democrats have been, spinning it as, no, there's no fraud whatsoever at all. So you mean tell me there wasn't, how many ballots were cast in this past election?
Oh,
a couple hundred million?
Yeah, more
one.
ballots than voters in the country.
Not one ballot had a
was
mistake
wrong.
or was wrong or anything. Not one, not a single one out of hundreds of millions. That in itself is statistically impossible. So please don't tell
just
me
like
that.
just like those late night dumps on the election where like 98,000 ballots showed up and 90% of them were for Biden. You know what I mean? Like remember when we saw the graph at night and it just jumped up?
Yeah, the 90%. I mean, I saw some where it was like all of them were for Biden. I don't know how exactly that worked, but it was weird. In the middle of the night, here come a whole bunch of ballots.
Yeah, here comes
every single one
400,000
for
Biden
one guy
votes.
and none are for the other guy. Even I expected more Democrats to do the mail-in ballots, but all of them, and not one ballot was for the other guy. That doesn't seem possible statistically either.
Yeah, that was definitely shady. But again, I always go by the line that two guineas can't drive down the street right now and rob a liquor store without one of them ratting on the other by the end of the night, right? But all these states got together and all these people got together and somehow pulled it off for Joe Biden.
Right, I agree.
Yeah,
that's such a massive cover up with so many moving parts and everything. Someone would have talked, it's way too involved, way too much going on. I don't think the whole election was rigged the way Trump and everybody made it out to be.
Not coast to coast, state to state, maybe, but yeah. I know.
Like I said, I stand by my view. Trump lost because he pissed that many people off that they voted against him.
Maybe. We'll see how that turns out in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So what did you want to go into next?
Yeah. So like I said, Trump pissed enough people off and created this Trump derangement syndrome that it parlays well into this next topic, which is Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney, again, is Republican. She is the chair of the House Republican Conference, and Republicans are considering removing her from her leadership position. And that stems from her anti-Trump stance. She voted to impeach Trump. She wants the party to distance itself from him. But the party still sees itself, as you've said, as Trump is the leader of the Republican Party, right?
It is what it is, yeah.
So I believe it's Steve Scalise and a couple other guys are saying, well, how could we have someone in a leadership position who is against the leader of the party? This is all party infighting, right? And they believe that their best way to take back the House in 2022 is by going with the Trump.
Yeah, you got to get out the rhinos,
right? Get them out. So they want to get rid of Liz Cheney from the leadership position. Okay, I don't really care about the infighting of the Republican Party. That's even Nancy Pelosi was like, "What am I going to say about it? It's really none of my business." What made me laugh about this whole thing is what Bernie Sanders, of all people, did. Right? Bernie Sanders is a big reason why I'm here. He got me into criticizing the establishment, getting to think critically about everything that's going on in government. Right. But when it comes to this issue, I'm going to bring up the tweet here. Bernie Sanders tweeted about Liz Cheney, and he goes, "Rep. Liz Cheney will likely be voted off the House Republican leadership. Per crime, acknowledging the reality that Trump lost the election. The Republican Party is no longer a conservative party. It is an anti-democratic cult, pushing the big lie and conspiracy theories." This made me laugh, right? Because Bernie Sanders, the most progressive person ever, is simping for Liz Cheney Dick Cheney's daughter, I believe, right? The guy who is the architect of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and is the least progressive, most establishment person ever. You have Bernie Sanders simping for her?
That's why Bernie Sanders is establishment.
What is going on? Can either of you explain that to me, what that means? Why is he defending Dick Cheney's daughter?
You want to take a crack at this?
Well, first of all, I do agree with Bernie on this, and I don't say those words lightly. And I encourage our listeners and viewers to go out and actually read the editorial she submitted, because it's very well written. And she talks about the fact that the Republican Party, for its own good, does need to separate from Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that's being overlooked is she talks about the fact that there should be a committee separate from Congress with no agenda and nothing to gain to investigate the 2020 elections and to prove once and for all if there was any foul play or anything like that. That part gets overlooked by most of the Republicans and the headline mongers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is very ironic that you're right that Bernie is going to bat for Liz Cheney. I give you that. But what she's saying is what's good for the party. Right now, Trump is not preaching a good message, and I don't understand those that are blindly and loyally following him. You have to look at everybody objectively, okay? When we grew up, man, Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player to ever play the game. The guy was a degenerate gambler. You have to recognize that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can like Michael Jackson's music. The guy was a freaking pedophile, all right? As long as you understand that. Trump did some good things for this country. And please, I believe that wholeheartedly. And he was good in some ways. His mouth got him in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit. And now what he's doing is it's WCW, Saturday Night Wrestling, man. That's what he's doing right now. He's acting like a child. He's not, I'm still the president. The election was stolen. Man, move on. Come back in 4 years. Bring it back. Do what the Democrats did to you for 4 years. And sit down. Oh, well, I would have did this differently. Well, I would have did that differently. Go on the shows. Be the talking head that you can be. I just think the way he's going about it is ostracizing the Republicans, and it's only going to create more Democratic seats in the House because people are sick of it. Cheney is right on this.
See, yeah, I agree with you. I actually even said today in one of our group chats that I think the worst thing that could possibly happen in 4 years is he wins again, because he'll just make things.
He'll just undo everything that's going on now.
It's not even that. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? So the more if he gets back in there, he's going to drive people even more crazy, and the reaction from the establishment and the left will be even harder. Again, as if it's not hard, hard enough, as messed up as that sounds.
It'll be a filibuster because they know in 4 years he's going no matter what. That's what they had to, even if it was a small percentage, the Democrats had to work with him just a little bit, just enough in those 4 years, just in case he came back for another 4.
Right.
Now, if he comes back, he's going to be a lame duck for 4 years.
True.
And look, if he gets reelected, I'd be fine with that. The people have spoken. But in my opinion right now is, if you're a Republican, you don't need to hitch your wagon to him. If you're a Democrat, you don't need to hitch your wagon to Kamala and Joe. Be who you are. Be a leader. Be what you're supposed to be. A leader for your constituents. Do what's best for them. Don't worry about the letter next to your name. And to me, that was Liz's message is, look, let's worry about the country now. Trump will sort out the election. We could put together a separate committee to investigate this, to appease him and the MAGA people. But let's move on. And that's the message. And it's sad that the Republicans are just knee-jerk reaction. Oh, got to get her, kick her off the island. You know what I mean?
That's I try and tell people, like, Trump's out of office. Like, when people start arguing with me and they just project everything back onto him, I mean, he's out of office. You know what I mean? Like, you can't talk about now without talking about him in any case. They always bring him up. You put that pretty well, though. The problem with our politicians today is they're not for the people. They're not for their constituents. They're for themselves. And right now, I would say in DC, hitching onto the back of Trump, like you were saying, is a pretty good way to get the votes for when you go up for re-election. You know what I'm saying? There is going to be the people that are getting pissed off from this all, But like, if you look at it from, you know, a selfish politician's perspective, and I'm not saying it's right, but you know, this is your meal ticket almost. I don't really want him to run in, you know, again. I think, like Nick said, he'd be better off playing kingmaker. He, unfortunately, it is what it is, the leader of the Republican Party. So whoever he endorses, he has that swing on them. The thing that, so I'm learning as you guys talk about what Liz Cheney was doing, because I didn't look into this, and I said I was, you know, because I wanted to be objective from this and unbiased and all that. I do get what she's saying, like, let's just move forward, and I agree with that. But I also, you know, I kind of feel like she is a warmonger. She is part of the establishment, and the only way the Republican Party, unfortunately, that the hero of the day is Trump. And even when Trump got into office, I used to look at him and be like, wow, the apprentice guy. Like, I was excited. Like, my guy's in, like, he's anti-establishment. I'm always going to be anti-establishment. Liz Cheney, as far as I'm concerned, is establishment, and she's a rhino, and all the established Republicans need to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if she gets the axe this way, so be it. You know what I mean? Like, I get what she's trying to push, and I agree with that, but you're also a rhino.
I feel the exact same way. I'll give you the libertarian perspective on this, right? You're okay. I might agree face value with what Liz Cheney is saying and doing, but we're talking about someone who's basically a warmonger. Her father is a war criminal, led to an action that, you know, caused hundreds of thousands of people to die. He won't be charged for any of that. So if we could get rid of people like Liz Cheney, I'll take it however I can get it. If it's the Republicans getting rid of her in a, you know, like a leadership position, which leads to her being primary challenged and losing, fine. I'll deal with the MAGA person who comes along, or maybe a libertarian or somebody else will challenge her seat in the future. That's the way I'm looking at it. If I could get one of these people who have been created, you know, she might look nice and she might look, you know, she might not have the optics Trump had. But like I said, father created war on terror. How many Iraqis have died from the war on terror? You know what I mean? But no one thinks of it that way. No one sees her as an evil person or her family as an evil person. We got to get rid, in my opinion, of these people because they sell themselves as saints when they're not.
She's immersed in the military complex. I mean, her hands are not clean no matter how we cut it. And unfortunately, I mean, I won't say it's 100% true. It's just the way I feel. If we are to move out of the swamp and, you know, whether Trump's going to take it down or we, the people, do it ourselves by, you know, primarying people and voting people out.
Let's be clear about that before before it kicks us off.
I'm not saying
inciting violence or something.
You know, to vote people out and stuff like that. You got to start with one party. And I kind of feel like it's almost easier right now to get cleaner people into positions on the Republican Party in the Senate and the House than it would be. I think we got a much longer road for the Democratic Party.
Let me throw a curveball at both of you, though.
Good.
What if they do knock Liz Cheney down a peg and that seat now turns Democrat? Because that's one thing when she comes up for re-election that you have to be prepared for. As the infighting in the Republican Party could lead to less seats.
Oh yeah, it could cannibalize ourselves too.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It could lead to a Democrat, but like I said, I'm looking at it from the libertarian point of view, which I'm starting to really like the Libertarian Party, and that will also give them an opportunity if they sell themselves correctly to take a seat. You know, there is one libertarian in Congress, Justin Amash, right? So it's not impossible that they can get a seat. So I just want to get rid of people who are shit. Yeah, that might mean you get rid of them and then someone else who's even more shit comes along, but you're not going to get rid of shit people without at least trying.
No, and I would agree if it goes Democrat, I would be happy if it was a non-established Democrat.
Right, that's possible too. Yeah.
So, you know, like I look at, you know, Governor Cuomo, somebody's going to run against him. You know what I mean? People are going to start gunning for his seat. Andrew Yang has been, right?
Well, Andrew Yang's running for NYC mayor.
Oh, okay. I thought he was governor. Sorry. Anyway, people are eventually going to try and step up against him. Now, as long as I stay in New York, I'm not going to waste my vote on a Republican. You know what I mean? Like,
get involved in the process.
Yes, I would get involved, and I would base my vote on policy and stuff like that. But who is running that the media hates? Who is running that the establishment hates? Who is the most anti-establishment Democrat running for this seat? you're probably going to get my vote.
Right. Whoever the media doesn't like
Yeah.
is probably the
Yeah.
person you're going to end up voting for. I get it.
So where do we want to go next? You want to throw? So, pal, we want to throw it to you now. Did you come up with any theories? What's been grinding your gears or been catching your attention lately?
I've honestly paid attention to the agenda items that you guys had, but we could talk a little sports real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Switching over to baseball, Albert Pujols, as we're recording this today, was told to get the F out.
Yep.
Here we go. Another horrible Angel contract. They are just notorious for signing horrible long-term contracts. So I guess how long before Pujols is wearing pinstripes? Because that's the inevitable next step is they put him at the end of the bench for a bat, and I really don't see how that does not happen.
Really? I don't think it's going to happen because Luke Voigt is on his way back from his rehab stint. He was hurt for a while, and he's a monster, Luke Voigt. I guess maybe it's the Yankees, and they're known to do stuff like that. But I don't know. I just don't see where he fits, and it doesn't seem like Pujols has anything really left that much. I mean, maybe on a bench role. Is he going to want to come to the Yankees and be a bench player? Maybe. He's one of the greatest of all time. I don't know.
I mean, think of the long list of guys that have done this. You know what I mean? This precedent is well set. And yes, Voigt, he had 2 hits the other night. He's coming back. He's looking good. But, as much as I love Aaron Judge, he's 1 swing away from 6 weeks on the DL, as is Giancarlo Stanton, and so on and so forth. Let's go around the diamond. I mean, I love this team, but they are Fabergé eggs. And, one thing that I listen to the broadcast more than I watch the actual games. I love John Sterling and Susan. And Susan brought up a very good point the other day.
Oh, Lord, Susan.
She did. She has some good points.
She does. Though. She's smart.
She said, I think injuries, meaning her, are going to be rampant this year, that they're going to be way more than any other year because of the shortened season last year, especially in the pitching department. And it was something that I hadn't thought of, and I've put a lot of thought into it since she said that. And I really think that you're already seeing it. Guys just going on the DL. This 10-day DL or IL is the worst thing that ever happened. You know what I mean? Because now guys have to go on the IL for no reason whatsoever. Right. And the other thing that grinds my gears, now that you got me fired up, is the friggin' COVID-19 absence. Why don't these guys have the shot? What the heck is this crap? These guys got to go sit out for 5 days because they have flu-like symptoms. Kiss my ass on that one. They're going to play golf somewhere. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a vacation.
Well, I do think the Yankees reached a threshold on the team vaccinations where they don't have to wear masks anymore or something like that.
Okay.
I saw that the other day. I think there's a rule where if both teams playing each other have like a certain percentage of the team has been vaccinated, the masks are completely optional.
So we apply herd immunity to the teams, but not the world?
Yes. Cool. Yes, exactly.
And these games mostly are played outside, right? Big open.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well ventilated.
In the NFL, they're on top of each other, wrestling and whatnot, no masks. MMA, no masks.
Yeah.
Baseball, mask. Oh,
high school wrestling, you walk onto the mat and wear a mask and are not allowed to shake your opponent's hand. And then you take your mask off and you basically roll around on top of each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about this? We're going to the Yankee game soon coming up, and a friend of ours is an NYPD officer.
Oh, yeah, this was crazy.
And he works sometimes the NYPD detail at Yankee Stadium. And we asked him to look into the whole get tested situation for us, so we're prepared. And he did. And while he was there, and I asked him, did you get tested before you had to go work there tonight? And he sent back a text like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
Like, LOL, no. So I'm sitting there thinking, are you not a human being in the facility with the other human beings in the facility?
Don't you come in more contact with other people being a police officer than your regular Joe Schmo would?
Where is the logic of the fans all have to be tested for COVID, but the police, and I'm sure maybe the staff, the security, don't?
Yeah.
Where is it? Seems like a lot of these things are just for show, for optics, and there's not a deep logical reason behind it.
Yeah, no, there's none. The best part of Yankee Stadium now is you could get your shot on the way in. With the purchase of a Yankee ticket, you could get vaccinated at the door.
No, actually, you could go there and get vaccinated, and they'll give you tickets to the game for free.
Nice.
Oh, I wish I had known that.
And then
I
on
would do
top
that
of
for Yankee tickets.
yeah, then
Well, there better be good seats though.
probably 300s.
Probably, yeah, upper deck.
And then on top of it, aren't they segregating the seats?
Yes, they're thinking about vaccinated and unvaccinated people will be sat in different areas of the stadium now. So now we have a literal segregation is coming forward, as we've been warning.
Yeah.
For a long time, which was the danger of the passports. They don't even have the passports yet, so
Yeah.
they're already starting the segregation
Why can't we go
society.
back to the way Shea Field was, Shea Stadium? You guys remember Shea Stadium?
Yes,
the way
I remember that.
When I was young.
That toilet bowl,
three
yes.
rows were railed off. Let's just do that.
Yeah,
Why can't we do that?
yeah, I agree.
I don't remember this.
I went to Shea a lot. Yeah,
I only went a few times when I was young.
The seats were all kind of like barred. Like there was bars everywhere separating the rows, the sections, etc.
Right. Oh, kind of like Alamo House, like where they remove every other. Yeah.
The old Yankee Stadium had seats like that. At least I remember on the
lower level.
It was kind of barred. Like the sections were kind of barred in because they wanted to separate the heathens from the rich folk who would sit around the home plate area.
I'll never forget my godfather got tickets and we were sitting behind third base and Giambi line drive foul ball and he pushed me and his sons out of the way and the bars in front of us, that ball went bing and shot about 50, 60 feet up in the air. That thing was coming right for us, man, like a rocket.
Yeah, you get hurt by one.
Oh yeah, it would have destroyed me.
I was actually at the game where Jeter dove into the stands against the Red Sox.
And he made the front page news?
Yes, when he got
my godfather is in that picture.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was young, but it was that was one to remember, definitely.
Didn't you go to the last World Series too?
The 09?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't there for the win. I've been to a lot of historic games over the years.
Yeah.
Just by chance, by luck.
Yeah.
So this season's been a little sad.
I haven't gotten a chance to watch.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten a chance. We talked about this on your show, that I feel a little bit discouraged by like the political climate, the vaccine climate behind everything has turned me off from everything else going on in the sports world besides maybe football. Good.
So oh, by the way, MLB subscriptions are up, but they're not telling you that they're also not being as liberal with the way you can use it, like Hulu and Netflix tightened up. For example, I would have an account and give it to the 20-man fantasy baseball league I was in, and we could all watch it simultaneously with no issue. Good luck trying to do that 2 or 3 houses at the same time now. But subscriptions are up, by the way. Look, the thing with baseball is I'm glad we're talking about it again. I think they somehow skated by this whole Georgia thing where it just went away.
Yeah.
They got lucky with that. They shouldn't push their luck with that. People are talking about the extra inning rules. People are talking about different rules. They're talking about baseball again. This is something they haven't done in a long time. Get me a pitch clock, put in the rule that the batter's got to stay in the box, and every pitcher has to pitch to 3 batters, and I think you fix the game. Those are the 3 things right there that the game will get better because it'll be faster. It's just too slow right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think you made a good point there also. I think we need to get away from the politics.
Yes.
The COVID stuff. And I'd like to actually talk about baseball. People don't want to go to things like this and be reminded of all the problems we face in society, right? We do a podcast for that every day.
I could already tell you, I will walk out of Yankee Stadium if it's just a continuous hard time. You know what I mean? Like, I know when we go across the street to the bar, we got to sit at a table and have a few drinks. Fine. But if I'm going to have a personal security guard follow me around and measure how far up and down my mask is, I'm not staying for it.
Yeah, you're looking for an escape, not to be reminded. Yeah. So I think that maybe has something to do with, at least the way I feel about being disinterested almost. So maybe you're right. If things do, trend away from that, people will feel
things
better.
Would be better. Yeah, I agree. But like I also said to you the other day, I was like, it's just as easy to go to, a Marlins game or something like that down in Florida.
That is true.
Well, the CDC said today that if you're all vaccinated, you can get in small groups outside together without masks because you're not at risk, which I then say, what if you're not vaccinated? You'd be the only one at risk. So why can't you be there?
Exactly. Because it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, right. That's the whole way I feel about the vaccine. Like If you want to go get it, great. Go ahead and get it. Now you're safe. You are protected.
Yeah.
Why do you care if I get it? And let's say, well, because you could still spread it, but you're vaccinated.
Uh,
You're safe. Don't worry about me. Just you're good.
Someone came into work yesterday and I'm working on my computer and they're walking around and she looks at me and she goes, and she's like, do I still need to wear this? I was like, hell no, I don't care. And she's like, oh, okay, good. Are you vaccinated? I was like, nope. She's like, oh, no, we still need to wear them. I was like, why? You're not even near me. Like, you're still like 10, 20 feet away.
Right. And
you
then,
don't have to wear it. You're good. Like,
ask somebody like that, well, why are you behaving that way? And they'll probably tell you, well, because there's still a chance I could catch COVID.
Dude.
So, okay, so there's still a chance, right? So you mean to tell me that you're scared the vaccine doesn't completely work 100%, right? Yes. So why am I going to get it then?
Yeah.
Why am I going to take this other substance and put it into my body
Mm-hmm.
and then still have the fear of getting COVID anyway? I'll take my, like, I heard Dave Smith put it this way, right? He goes, it's not about just getting the vaccine and getting COVID. He goes, if you take the vaccine, you're 100% getting the vaccine. If you don't take the vaccine, you're not 100% getting COVID. You just have to come in contact with it and be infected. So it's not the same thing.
No.
You know, people making it seem like it's,
and most of us have all been in contact with it already. And I even asked someone else. I said, why are you wearing 2 masks? And he was like, because they told me to. I was like, bro, you don't take shit from anyone. Like, all I do is see you complain about work and like taking orders. But some doctor that you never seen before, you know, you're this strong dude from, you know, I mean, from like the Bronx and shit, like, and you're gonna wear 2 masks because some guy just, I was like, if they told you to wear 2 underwear, can you piss your pants? Like, you know what I mean? if you wear 2 seatbelts, do you need to look where you're driving anymore?
I don't even care about that. If you want to wear 2 masks, you want to do it. Just don't tell me what to do.
People are doing it because they're told that you still need to wear your mask around.
Fair enough. If you want to
people.
be a sheep, God bless.
Yeah.
Go be a sheep. Just don't tell me what to do, please. Don't tell me how to live my life.
See, this is where I think, and what we talked about on my show, if Trump was still president.
Oh, that's a good aspect to go into. Perfect.
People 6 months ago, if you remember, when Trump was pushing he had Pfizer at the White House and he was pushing the vaccine, one of the talking points that we were talking about, I'm sure you guys were talking about, is people, Democrats were saying, and anti-MAGAs were saying, we're not taking it.
Yes.
We're not getting that vaccine. We're all set. These are the same people now that are clamoring that you have to have the vaccine. What changed? Did the secret recipe in the Pfizer vaccine change from red to blue? Because the office changed? I don't think so. To me, it's the same vaccine. Look, I recently, I'll use myself as the guinea pig here. We did the show. I thought everybody was going to be pro-vaccine. I was surprised to see that most people weren't. In fact, nobody was. I didn't have to get the vaccine. I came to a point where it was easier for me in life to get the vaccine. I made a decision. I'm not 100% that I even got the vaccine, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% comfortable that I did it, but I did it. And I don't believe that the government's shooting microchips into me, because the dumb kid at CVS that stuck me was barely old enough to make my fries, let alone handle secret government agents that is going to track me, because God knows the U.S. government needs to know what the frig I'm doing. You know what I mean? It's called incognito tabs government. Get a hold on that, and you'll know what we're all doing. But the bottom line is if it's going to give me maybe the illusion I'm safe or allow things to open up, I will do my part as a citizen and get the vaccine. But I don't feel 100% about it. But talking to you guys, I don't look differently on you because you don't have the vaccine.
Yeah, well,
that's your decision. What I think is going to happen, though, unfortunately, to the people that aren't going to get the vaccine is, at a certain point, the Democrats are going to get spiteful. The powers that be are going to get spiteful. And they're going to take away the free testing. They're going to take away any free treatment. And it's going to be astronomically expensive. It's going to be like cancer drugs and AIDS drugs out there if you get it. Because they're going to tell you, they're basically, like I said, get spiteful. You don't want to get it. If you got the vaccine, you'd be all set. I just feel like there's some sort of spike coming towards the anti-vaxxers.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe.
I 100% agree. You're going to start seeing more segregation. We had warned this for a long time that it's not going to be Joe Biden who makes you get the vaccine passport or the vaccine mandates, because the big corporations can't wait to do this to you. You know what I mean? And they're part of the establishment too. All these CEOs, they're doing it in favor for this, and it's eventually just going to be harder and harder. You can't go to Target, you can't go to a movie theater, your bank account, who knows? And it's the funny thing too, because all these big cities, they've been squeezing the mom and pop little businesses dry and putting them out of business. Because when this does happen, who's going to welcome the unvaccinated with open arms? The mom and pop shops. But now they're all going out of business. You damn well know Whole Foods and ShopRite and Target and Walmart and McDonald's and Burger King have no problem implementing a vaccine passport.
Yeah.
So it's eventually going to lock you out of society. And we've warned people about this time and time again. But what I also think at the beginning, I'm interested to see, like at Yankee Stadium, there's going to eventually be, I don't know if when we're there, it'll be implemented. I really hope it is, because I would like to see, because we have a platform to talk about it. If they treat the unvaccinated people like second-rate citizens, or if it is even, you know, if all the vaccinated people get the 100 and 200 seats and the unvaccinated are up in the nosebleeds, then we have a problem.
Well, you still have to buy your seat.
True.
Right? I mean, there's money involved here, and this is, you know, they're a business.
Until the unvaccinated's money doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
But they'll probably have in section 100 this many seats on the right side of the stadium for vaccinated people in that, you know, area, and the same amount on the other side. You know, and I'm sure they'll have like accountants and you know, stadium analysis people figuring out, well, how many people you think are vaccinated that are going to be coming to the game, and etc. Well, believe me, there's money involved here. They're going to be figuring it out.
And I don't disagree with you, but wouldn't it be crazy if the first vaccinated, unvaccinated game, just everybody's on like the other side, and there's just mad people who aren't vaccinated that are going to the
shows
game.
The discrepancy.
Yeah, like, and you actually see, like, because it was always like, so before the election, it was hard to believe anyone was going to vote for Biden, because he would go out of his basement and talk, and 12 people would show up. Trump would go to a town of 100,000 people and 400,000 people would show up. You know what I mean? So it'd be crazy. Like, you would see where the fan base is, you know, going to be. It'd be a good visual,
maybe.
You know,
they probably won't publicize what's
no,
what.
They would never.
Right. Yeah, I don't see them opening themselves up to ridicule like that.
No.
Because it would, if it did, they would spin it the other way around in the post the next day. But I don't see how. The only way to do that would be, you know, like Nazi Germany. You'd have to wear what? You're going to pin your
gold star.
Yeah.
Oh, God forbid you make that comparison. Woo,
yeah.
God
my
forbid
problem.
you make that comparison.
I don't see them doing that. I think it's all talk, unless they go to that passport, which could be the way they spite the non-vaxxers. But
that's
I think it's. Honestly, I think once the floodgates open, the Democrats or the establishment is going to lose control. And you know, something else too. You know, we were talking earlier about Trump being the head of the Republican Party. It's pretty ricky in Florida. That's where the Republican Party is going to be. You know, open up everything ricky down there. But sorry, I got sidetracked there. But I just think that it's going to cost you. You're talking about it's going to cost money, right? It's going to cost way too. You know what staff you're going to have to get security because if we go together to a game, I got to sit somewhere else. And you got to sit on the other side. This is New York we're talking about. New York is not going to stand for this.
No.
This isn't going to last in Philly. Crap, even the wusses in Boston will fight back eventually.
Yeah, but then the argument would be made to be like, okay, non-vaccinated people are not allowed. The whole stadium's for only vaccinated. That's who they would give it to.
Maybe.
That could happen.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And so now when the stadium is 75% empty every game, good luck. And how long is that going to last?
Because I'll be down.
They're already been. Think of it this way. They just lost an entire season of revenue of people sitting in the stands last season. They've, you know, the first, you know, what are we like? Third, maybe not even. You know, the first part of this season, they've lost a lot of revenue of not being able to sell all the seats. So you think they're going to really, if you know, they're going to make it worse?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. It's money, bro. Money makes the world go around. As soon as the pockets start getting hurt, that's what you ultimately have. If you don't want things to be this way, you vote with your wallet. You vote with your feet, right? That will get people to change the way they are. And I'm not saying don't get vaccinated. If you want like to do so, like my friend Pal here, go ahead. I fully support you getting vaccinated. Just do not make laws and tell other people what to do, right? The pro-choice people, be pro-choice, please.
Yeah. But,
I think you said it well, but look at the NFL. They got through the playoffs without incident. They got through the Super Bowl without incident. And I think that's what's going to happen. The NBA postseason and the NHL postseason are going to happen, around the All-Star break in that time period or before. Asses are going to be in the seats. Players are going to be on top of each other. And as long as there's no major spike or any outbreak, baseball's going to have a tough time arguing for passports or locking out anti-vaxxers or any of that case. I really do think that once we get to midsummer, and I don't even think midsummer, guys, I think Memorial Day, here in Rhode Island last year, when they opened the beaches in the heart of the pandemic, you couldn't keep people off the beach. They had nowhere else to go. We're the ocean state. The beaches were mobbed with people like Florida and whatnot. Same thing's going to happen this year. The weather's going to get nice. People are going to forget about it, and their agenda is going to get lost. Probably be another race riot middle of the summer to get us all back together. But I really don't
change the agenda.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to get through this.
Yeah. So we actually started this with saying, like, when Trump came out, like all, the Democrats were saying we would never take this,
Yeah. With the vaccine, right? I just want to make one point. I very clearly remember someone asked Vice President Harris, if the vaccine comes out and Trump tells you to take it, would you take it? And she like stumbles and she goes, the Trump told me to take it. If the doctor tells me to take it, I'll take it, but I'm not taking the Trump vaccine or something like that. Isn't that sowing doubt in the vaccine, what she was doing there?
Yep. I remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
The only thing that changed, like you asked before, was the guy advertising it.
Yeah.
That was it. And that's how easily everyone forgets, because you get into arguments with people saying that Biden put out the vaccine. Biden had the vaccine before he was inaugurated. Yeah. It's impossible,
Right. At the same time, I've made this point so many times on our show. Trump's not in the kitchen mixing the liquids or whatever, making it. That's scientists, it's doctors.
There's nothing that changed.
All he does is sign the policy that made it go faster.
Yeah. But I think you asked me last week if Trump was president, would I consider taking it? And I still wouldn't, but I don't think there would be as much BS around it. You know what I mean? I don't think they'd be able to push like passports and stuff like that if he was in office.
No, he wouldn't be pressing for such a thing. Republicans have their faults, but I don't think they're trying to create this or strip away the constitutional rights of every citizen as hard as the Democrats are. Yes, they are in certain regards, but not as hard as the Democrats seem to be laser focused on repealing the Constitution and our liberty at every single turn. There's a slight difference there.
Insanity.
It's sad you think that. I'm like, wow, it's been a long time since we had a major shooting. Get those 2A laws ready because it's coming.
Yeah, there'll be a wave again for no reason.
Yeah,
just like there was none for a whole year, and then all of a sudden there was 11 in a week out of nowhere. I mean, come on, that's suspicious in itself.
That's why you got to use your Biden bucks on guns and ammo.
So, all right, I think this is a good because that's kind of a little conspiratorial. So
here's my conspiracy.
Let's maybe put on some tinfoil hats here, right? One of our other topics tonight was Bill and Melinda Gates getting a divorce. Right. So I kind of tasked myself with like looking into why they're getting a divorce. Like I'm going to somehow get to
solve their marriage,
the scoop on the billionaires' marriage problems. Right. I couldn't get anything, obviously. But there was an interesting story that I saw today that did come out that I found. And it turns out that Bill and Melinda Gates, met with our good buddy Epstein in 2013, and that Melinda was furious after the meeting with Epstein, thought he was a major creep and was adamant with Bill that they never meet with him again. So, like I said, tinfoil hats here, especially being Bill's apparent super important part in our society all of a sudden, even though he's the guy who made my computer's operating system. He's now the authority on health.
He's not a doctor that you should take, medical advice from.
Right. Don't listen to Joe Rogan, but listen to Bill Gates. What's going on here? Why did they get a divorce all of a sudden while he's has such an important part to play in society? What are your guys' thoughts? What do you think's going on? Go ahead, pal. What do you think?
Well, she dies in a year, then she knew too much, or maybe she's got information on Hillary. I don't know. honestly, when I first read this, it reminded me of Bill Belichick here in New England, where he was here for a while. He had, he's an average wife, someone he had met, in his 20s or whatever, and they got married, and she was, I don't want to put the woman down, but she wasn't a model. Then all of a sudden he went to Super Bowl at Fields, got some money in his pocket, and all of a sudden irreconcilable differences. And now he's got a hot young blonde, and that's who he runs around with. So to me, when I read the article, I was like, I'm surprised this guy didn't do this years ago. But then I thought about it and said, he's probably experiencing his teenage years now in his late 60s, 70s, because he's been a dork for 5-6 decades now. So he's probably honestly learning that he can get more than one vagina in his life, and that money in his pocket is probably going to be the primary reason. That's what I thought, but who knows? Maybe she knows something or disagrees with something that he's pushing.
Maybe that's what I was thinking, but you make a good point. Maybe this recent trend in his importance
has gotten him some more pussy.
Gotten him some more pussy, maybe.
Well,
and that has something to do with it, right? Some some double masked face shield virtue signaling pussy or something.
I have my own theory.
Yeah, what is your? I know you got.
But first off, because everybody knows Bill Gates is. I do not like him. I don't like him as much as I don't like Hillary Clinton.
Wow.
He's too nefarious. I feel like I don't know. So apparently there was a story though that he wasn't just getting his wife. He had an agreement with his wife that he would spend one weekend a year banging his ex-girlfriend.
This I did see.
They had their own island house and stuff.
She was ugly too.
Yeah.
Sorry, women, but she was ugly.
Well, Bill Gates is no supermodel, so I can't imagine. He named his company Microsoft.
Good observation. I never thought of that.
All right. But my theory behind this is, okay, we can all admit inflation is coming. We can all agree that Bill Gates all of a sudden has this newfound foundational structure in society and in the world where his word and his ideas carry weight. And he's a huge part of the vaccine, but he's also in favor of depopulation and stuff like that. And I feel like he knows what's coming. Now, I've always, been suspicious of Biden and the establishment and what their plans are. And now that Trump's out of office, the plan is back on. Biden keeps signing all these $1 trillion deals. He wants to spend more and more money. Obviously, someone needs to pay for it. We've already felt the inflation starting. We've all agreed that by this time next year, you're probably not going to be able to afford anything. And Biden's only been in office 3-4 months. You know what I'm saying? Bill Gates, as one of the wealthiest people on the planet, first off, think of why would you get a divorce at this stage of your finances? It's only going to ruin you, and it's only going to bring negative press. Why don't you just tell your wife, we don't need to get a divorce. Here's $5 billion. I'll build you a house. I'll buy you an island, and you go F off for the rest of your life and bang whoever I want, and I'll go do whatever I want. There doesn't need to be media headlines when your bank account says $160 billion. You know what I'm saying? You can move anonymously through the world. Even as Bill Gates, we don't know where he vacations. He's not someone in the mainstream media unless he wants to be. He could have done this with no one knowing. If they really had marital issues and they wanted to separate, he has enough money. She doesn't need half
to cover it up.
Yeah. Just here's $5 billion. Go live your life. You know what I mean? What more can you ask for? I feel that he has I feel that he's part of the establishment. I feel that that's why he's invested in Moderna and Pfizer and has his part in the vaccine, which is a huge revenue strain now, taking over the world. He knows that through what Biden's doing, that the market's going to go belly up. So there's a loophole in the system. If he was to dump all his assets and make billions by selling off all his stocks and then the market crashed, they would go after him saying you knew ahead of time. But if you get a divorce, a judge will order you to liquidate all your assets and split it separately between you and your wife. That's why Jeff Bezos got a divorce last year. So back when Enron happened and all the executives knew that Enron was about to go under, they said, dump all your assets, take all your money, and run. Then when Enron went under, they all got in trouble for it, except for one or two guys. They were going through a divorce, and they were forced to liquidate their assets. So now you just get this fake divorce. The market goes belly up. You sold off all your shares. She's not really running off with your money. She's part of this deal. And he's making out scot-free.
Wow.
Jeff Bezos did it. Now he's doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if another billionaire ends up getting a divorce or something.
Wow, that was well thought out. I have to hand it to you.
He knows a much better theory than mine for sure.
He knows how the market's going to act. Remember how we always complain about the stocks, how the wealthy people get to buy into it the night before or whatever.
Yeah, they always have the one up. Yeah.
You don't think he has? You don't think at his level?
Well, he's setting the policy, bro.
Yeah, you don't think at his level that he has hedge fund guys at his house drinking whiskey right now with him? They're all going on the links tomorrow and a night for the boys, Saturdays for the boys, and this is the first Saturday for Gates that's out there, man. He's with all the hedge funds. They're probably back on Epstein's Island right now, just partying up, man.
Yeah, they took it over. I thought you both made very good points, honestly. Both very likely. I did like what you said, though. It's the fact that they made it public is weird. It's intentional. Like, why would you make it public? Yeah. Especially now, the climate, his importance, like I said, it is weird that they decided to go public with such a thing when they could just both, right, here's your money, fuck off, and I'll never have to see you again.
Nobody would have ever questioned if they never showed up in the same place again. Mm-hmm. My wife's a busy person. My husband's a busy person. Just run the organization. Let's be real. At the level they're at, how much work are they really doing? How much 9 to 5 hard labor is there still left in their positions? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Pick her out of a lineup if you had to. I don't even know what she looks like.
Yeah. I only know because I looked at look up the articles before to talk about this. Yeah, funny, man. We haven't spoken about the Joe Rogan thing either with him real quick. But did you hear about this, pal? With the comments that Joe Rogan made a week ago or so about the vaccine, and he got a whole lot of backlash. I'm sure you heard about this. So Joe Rogan about a week or two ago said that he believes the vaccine is completely safe and that if you're worried, you should take it. But he's like, how old are you? Are you like 21? Are you healthy? Then I don't really know if you should take it or not. And boy, the backlash he got for saying something like that was incredible. The media, the articles, the newscasters all talking bad about Joe Rogan. And I could, there was probably 15 to 20 news articles I saw saying Joe Rogan's not a doctor and gives terrible medical advice to young people. And everybody thought it on Twitter, just as I did. I'm like, well, Bill Gates is not a doctor, but he's leading the policy apparently based on this, right? And the media is, and people were comparing articles criticizing Joe Rogan and then putting Bill Gates up on this pedestal when they have the exact same amount of knowledge, I'd say, or authority on the situation.
Following.
Yeah. And then I heard another great point that was like, well, if Joe Rogan had said that everyone should get the vaccine, especially young people, the media would have written an article saying, listen to Joe Rogan. He knows what he's talking about. He's a trusted source on the subject. So, I mean, come on.
I say that always about, whenever a Democrat or somebody argues with me about, Trump should have did this. Trump should have did that. You would have just written the story to make that whatever he did look bad. I got into an argument just recently and they were like, they didn't shut down Trump didn't shut down the economy early enough when COVID hit. That's why there's all these problems.
They were saying he was racist. Right?
Yeah. First off, you mean to tell me he should have shut down the economy while he was being impeached? Yeah, that would have helped out a lot. The media wouldn't have had a field day with that. And if he did it earlier, if he did it a day earlier, a week earlier, a month earlier, they would have still demonized him. Now your argument, if that what happened in history, your argument wouldn't have been that he shut it down too early, that he didn't shut it down early enough. It would be that he shut it down too early. It's going to manipulate in whatever way the agenda needs. The agenda is fluid. Basically, it's like water. It's going to go whichever way that it just benefits
the
them.
Vaccine. Yeah. Kamala Harris said, if Trump tells me to take it, I'm not going to take it.
If Trump was president when 9/11 happened, he would have been blamed with giving them fuel or falling asleep. It would have been his fault. The nation wouldn't rally. It would have been, oh, Trump screwed us again.
Yeah.
But to me, I think the part of the problem is this. Joe Rogan is an entertainer. You know that. I know that. Okay? People are not stupid. People are stupid. And that's where people take his word for gospel. Howard, whoever. Pick a name. Maybe the two do men. Maybe.
I hope so.
They take our word for gospel, and frankly, they shouldn't. We're making informed opinions here. That's all we're doing, and the news needs to go back to being the news.
Yes.
Mhm.
And you can have your editorial stuff on CNN, but label it as such. And same thing in the newspaper. What's left of them. They need to be news organizations reporting the news. And then all this other stuff should be filed as entertainment. Nothing chaps my ass more than when some celebrity speaks up. You know what I mean? Properties in Canada must have been through the roof 4 years ago when all these Rosie O'Donnell wannabes were all going to move to Canada because he got elected. They're all still here, though, aren't they? And they're all still doing whatever it is they do because this is the greatest land of them all.
Yep.
And they can exploit the crap out of the system because they've already learned how to. And good for them for doing it. I'm just jealous. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But, again, we need to, as a society, categorize stuff. You know what I mean? Joe Rogan can talk about whatever he wants. The guy smokes more weed than they make in Jamaica a day. You know what I mean? Why can't people say that? See that? And the people that are commenting on it, like, if I was Joe Rogan, I'd be like, wow, I got a lot of listeners. I would take that as a badge of honor that many people got that butthurt about what I had to say.
Yep.
I always say, minus the corruption in the government, all the issues and all the weirdness that has been happening over the past 5 years, this all starts and ends with the media.
Yeah.
If we get the media to stop doing what they've been doing, the propaganda machines, both sides, I know, Democrats will rattle off stuff and say, but I watch too much propaganda news. It's fine, but it's from both sides until there is actual unbiased, just news. This is what happened today.
Right. It's also
we're not getting out of this, insanity.
It's also very lazy. Me and you actually listened to that entire Joe Rogan episode on the way back from a bachelor party that we were at. We just happened to listen to it. Yeah. And this was just as soon as it came out, so this whole shitstorm didn't happen yet. And there was Dave Smith was on there, right? And a couple of these news articles written about this, this comment that Joe Rogan made, wrote in it that Dave Smith is a Republican. And it's like, they didn't even actually listen to the episode.
No,
they didn't listen to it because Dave Smith is a libertarian who announced he's going to be running for president. And under the Libertarian Party, did nothing but talk about libertarian ideas, etc., throughout the entire episode. But they wrote that he's a Republican. So they only just took that one little tiny, 15-second clip, and they talked about that, but they didn't actually spend the time, watching a 2-hour episode. A journalist.
Yeah. The media is just as uninformed as the idiot screaming on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because if you if you look at all the lawsuits that are pending against Project Veritas, like the responses that he's getting in his lawsuit from the New York Times, he has a lawsuit with them. They were like, yeah, that was just an op-eded piece. We didn't, say it was an op-ed. We didn't really look into it. So you were changing a national narrative on not doing any research, or you're that negligent. It's either or. You're either being nefarious or you're negligent.
Right.
But you got to admit to one of them, and neither outcome should be better than the other.
Right. You want to write op-eds, fine, but you got to put it in there that it's an op-ed.
Yeah.
You can't sell that.
I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on here and say to you that I think you guys mentioned the industrial complex, and you were talking about Liz Cheney, and I always say, isn't there another Bush that could run for office? And I think, and you go back and you look at history, we haven't been in a real war in a while. And
I say this all the time.
Wars unite this country, okay? And I think we haven't been in a war in a while for a few reasons. One, there's too much information. Information is just, you can't fart in a church without it being on Twitter and Instagram and everything 5 seconds after you do it, right? And we learned that in the first Gulf War. that everything was on TV. The whole thing was televised. And that actually started in Vietnam, but it got progressively more and more over time. So the government is probably really leery about fighting battles and going to war and doing all this stuff. So instead, we're imploding from within. And we have no unity. We have nothing to unite behind. Biden was supposed to be the great uniter. He has united nothing. Again, we started this show by talking about the Arizona elections. This is where Democrats and Republicans should hold hands together and say, count them up. Let's do it. Let's prove that the process is right. God bless America. Wave the flag and all that crap. We can't do it. And maybe there's a war coming, guys. Maybe that's what Bill Gates
Old Civil War.
I hope it's not a civil war, but maybe there's something coming that the powers that be are going to, that's their plan to unite everybody by just sending our young off. There's your population control right there. Get rid of everybody 18 to 25. That takes care of 2 or 3 more generations. Now I'm going really deep in my tin hat for right now.
That's good.
You know, it unites us against the common enemy.
Would it?
You know?
I mean, after 20 years of bullshit war in Afghanistan and Iraq, I don't think the American public is so easily sold on war anymore.
And that's again because of the information. You had a nation in 2001 that everybody, if you asked them on September 12th, would have stabbed people in the eyeballs that were from Al Qaeda or whatever. A few years later, everybody's Abu Ghraib sympathizers because these people were tortured over there.
I know. How easily do we forget? Yeah.
Yep. I get it. I don't know.
So all right. So now that we have one final question. Pal, if you want to shift your camera a little bit, you've been slowly going off to the side. There we go. Perfect. So when we were on your show, you actually got us super fired up with one little song, Darth Maul's entrance music. And we had prepared, you had given us a question about Star Wars, and we never got to it because we were time restricted. And Skaggs and I have been chomping at the bit all week to get into Star Wars. So, favorite character, favorite movie?
Good question. I'm more of a Trekkie than I am Star Wars.
Okay, interesting.
But I would have to say Han Solo. Was it Return of the Jedi with the canteen scene? I think that's Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that was the first.
No, the first one is A New Hope. So the canteen. Hope, when you first see Han Solo eating with Greedo, it's at the cantina.
Yeah, that would have to be my bet. Anything with the Anakin stuff is just bleh. Yeah, and then the new Disney stuff is. I'll give it credit. It's some of it's not bad, but I'm finding a hard time engaging.
Oh, hush your mouth. The Mandalorian, I love it, and
I haven't seen that.
Oh,
it's fantastic.
Good. That's good.
Fantastic. And then to make 1, 2, and 3 better, I have been begging him. You need to watch the Clone Wars series. I know it's a cartoon, but it is so good. It makes 1, 2, and 3 better. Like it gives so much. You'll watch that and you'll be like, why couldn't they just add this into 1, 2, and 3? And these movies would have been fantastic. I agree. They're the weakest of the 3.
I won't disagree with you. I've seen some of the cartoons, the Clone series. They are pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, did you see Rogue One?
Yes. That was the first one, right?
Yeah. No, that was Rogue One was not tied.
Their first spinoff. It's the one
not tied to the Skywalkers.
Yeah. It ends 5 minutes before New Hope starts, where Darth Vader's getting onto the new ship.
That was actually my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Because it was not as religiously tied to the supernatural, mystical aspect of everything. It was a war story. Mm-hmm. And they only gave you that little taste at the very end with Darth Vader coming out in the hallway with the lightsaber. Man, that was like so many years in the making of people wanting to see Vader with like the movie film technology that we have now to really show you how powerful he is. Because back in the original one, they were limited by the technology. Now we have CGI, etc., and him force choking people, throwing them against the wall. That was amazing. You got to see like what Vader was really capable of as they've built him up to be.
Yeah, I got to say for me, it was because it's just the nostalgia. My father put me on to Star Wars, and I saw it before it was remastered. So I saw like all the VHS tapes from like the 70s or whatever. And Return of the Jedi, man, that was the last one. So that was when, like, spoiler alert, Vader dies.
You haven't seen it by now. Yeah.
Because as a kid, like, oh man, all these heroes that I've been following finally succeeded, and they saved the galaxy and all that.
But
And-
did they know? But did they?
No, not really, not at all. Because there was his own Padawan, turned on him and joined the dark side and restarted,
Yep.
the Empire. But I still though Vader's always going to be my favorite character.
too.
Han Solo as a kid, it's kind of like that meme where it's like, as a kid you idolize Batman, and as an adult you tend to agree with the Joker. So like as a
Yes.
kid, loved Han Solo, this badass space cowboy. As an adult, I understand that the anger leads to hate, fear leads to anger leads to hate leads to suffering. I get it, man. He has one hell of a story.
I agree. Vader's definitely my my favorite character. You mentioned the Joker. I saw a funny meme earlier today, and it said like 1980 whatever. And it's like they threw the Joker into a vat of toxic chemicals to make him the Joker. It's like 2020. They just let him into society, and it turned him into
let society deal with him.
Society turned him into the Joker. Yeah.
I have to say though, Darth Vader for me, the mystique of it was ruined by Anakin Skywalker. It's just the whole no scene. That if there was ever one scene in the movie that needed to be cut, it was that one.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
I don't disagree, but the Clone Wars and seeing what pushed Anakin towards the dark side, the Jedi Council wasn't as smart as it was. He was way more of a tactician than they were. They screwed him over. They falsely accused his Padawan. They cost him so much by their own negligence, because the show is almost kind of political. It actually really is political, and for a cartoon, you get to see the descent to the dark side more, and you get to understand what the in-between of 1, 2, and 3 of the descent into the dark side.
Sounds like they realized they messed up in the movies.
Oh yeah,
and
big
had
time.
to flesh out the story
Big
a little
time.
bit more in the cartoon.
Big time, yeah.
I'm going to turn you guys on, if you haven't watched it already, Star Trek Discovery. A lot of people that like
That on
Star
Hulu?
Wars are moving towards Star Trek Discovery because the actual visual effects and a lot of it's war and going against all these, without giving it away, establishment type things, and it's actually really good. The first season moves really, really fast. It's on Paramount Plus right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked some of the newer Star Trek movies. I had like Zachary Quinto and
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
I
liked them. They were
how many were
entertaining.
there? 3 of
A
them?
couple.
I enjoyed all of them from what I remember.
I liked them. They were very entertaining, honestly.
The Chris Pine, the first one was good. I have to
Yes.
admit, I fell asleep during the next 2 though. Star
I
Trek
don't
has been-
fully remember them.
Exactly. Star Trek is notoriously good as a television series and notoriously bad. I mean, think of their movies with Kirk and Leonard Nimoy. I think it was the third one. They needed a whale to go back in time. There's been some really, really bad movies that
Leonard Nimoy was in the new ones. He was like
Yeah.
Spock Prime or something like that, and there's some sort of time.
I think he came back as
dilation
an
or
older
something.
Spock. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
So before we go, pal, show off that pop. Let's see what it is, pal.
Oh, back here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were eyeballing that before, and I was like,
I knew you would. This was just a gift. This is just Mean Gene Okerlund.
Okay.
The old wrestling fan. I got back there. You can't see it, but there's a signed picture of me and Howard Finkel from WWF or WWE.
Nice.
Grew up that way. I'm a ring announcer professionally for MMA and boxing locally. I've gotten to travel, do some cool stuff on Showtime and UFC Fight Pass and stuff like that. So, I've always kind of idolized Mean Gene and Howard Finkel and those guys and the way they went about it. You want a good laugh, YouTube Mean Gene outtakes. Those are absolutely hilarious. Him smoking cigarettes, swearing, and all that is absolutely hilarious.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I've checked that out.
So before we go, let's tell everybody what's going on next week with us.
So next week, that's great. Next week, Thursday night, May 13th. I hope I have the date right.
Yep.
Right? I have the date right? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Two Doomed Men will be back on 990 WBOB in their second edition of their podcast with us. They'll be live at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Just in front of them will be a brand new show called Just American with WBOB's Alan Gibberti and Ron Park. Now, if you haven't heard these guys, it's not for the snowflakes, okay? Ron Park is a truck driving Asian man. He's Korean. He swears like a trucker. And he is very conservative and hilarious. He makes fun of himself and all races. It's terrific. You have to catch that. It is definitely not politically correct. And of course, the Two Doomed Men will be live at 8 o'clock, kicking some butt, taking some names on the .com 990 WBOB.
Sounds
Perfectly
good.
put.
We'll be there.
Yeah. Yes,
you
we
know
will.
I like Chuck Finley and the Undercover Blues.
I'm glad you like that. A lot of
yeah, I've
people like
listened
that.
to
He is a very unique character. We record on Saturday mornings, so I'll be seeing him in the morning, and he's got these great stories. That a lot of them he tells off the air. I'm trying to get him to tell on the air, but as a private investigator, he's caught some people doing some pretty shady stuff. And he's got some really, really good stories. But sometimes he plays some really good jazz and blues.
Yeah.
But he'll go into life hacks, and sometimes it's just simple stuff like how to avoid getting in deep shit with parking meters, which we all probably have at one point or another. So just some cool stuff. Last week he was talking about electric cars versus gas cars. I'm sure he pissed off a crap load of liberals because he was very anti-electric car.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
All righty. So, Doom Nation, thank you guys again for joining us. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You could catch us anywhere Donald Trump is banned from social media. We're not on his new platform because we can't be.
No one is. Yeah.
And no one can be. So, at Two Doom Men for Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. At Two Doom Men _podcast for our Instagram. And on our Instagram, you could find our link tree. And of course, you could hear us wherever major podcasts are heard. And for 990 WBOB, check them out. www.990wbob.com.
Yes. If you're still here, actually subscribe, by the way, to our YouTube channel. I saw a statistic playing around
30%.
30% of the people watching are subscribed and like 70% are not. So people are watching, but they're not pushing the button. I included it. It's on the bottom left of the video now. All you have to do is push our logo. It's an interactive logo now. That will subscribe you.
Do we need to get Dr. Fauci to tell them to subscribe to the Two Doom Men? Because then everybody will do it.
The percentages are all Fauci. I'll get Fauci on it this next week.
There we go.
All right, everybody.
Pal, say goodbye.
Let's go Yankees.
There we go. Adios, everyone.